Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today I am going to be addressing a question that has been asked to me multiple times by many of you guys and gals out there, and I thought it would be best to, instead of just answer each question by question by question, which I usually do because I try to be as responsive as I can to you guys, but I thought I would cover it in one full video, and I really liked what this turned into, and I think you're going to love it too. If you guys like my content, please be sure and hit that subscribe button, follow along. Today, we are talking button locks, but not just any particular button lock. We are talking the best button lock EDC knife for every budget. I don't care if you got 50 bucks. I don't care if you got 200 plus bucks. I got a button lock for you in this video that I think you would be extremely happy with. These are all knives in my personal collection, my vault to keep around because I think they're that good. These are all fantastic, and as I said, they're gonna cover every budget. Let's get right into it. We have the budgets of under $50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 to 200, and 200 plus. So we got some categories to go over. We got some knives to talk about. Let's get right into it, and let's start with the under $50 category. And this is the only category, the only budget where there's only one. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the one, the Sencut Serene. I could not be happier with this knife. Now, granted, I did this. So this guy's coming in at 46 bucks. So under $50, closer to $50, but still what you're getting is one phenomenal knife for $46. The best knife you could ever get under 50 bucks, in my opinion, especially for a button lock. There may be a couple liner locks or something that could contend under 50 bucks, but for a button lock, this is it. Now, I did put an aftermarket Civivi clip on here that fits on some of the Civivs and Wiis because it really rounds it out for me. This technically knocked it over 50 bucks, but you don't have to have this. This is completely a choice. Even with a regular clip, this thing is still just a banger. The lines on this knife, the slicey edge, the action. I mean, listen to this. It's effortless. It is so smooth. Granted, it's aluminum and I believe D2 steel and aluminum handles. So, you know, it is a budget knife, but it's the best of the best of the best. It is fantastic under 50 bucks. I can't recommend this one enough. I'll stop talking about it because we got a lot of other knives to go through, but the Sencut Serene is the one and only knife I would 1,000,000% recommend in the $50 or less category. There are some other really good Sencut button locks under 50 bucks that I wouldn't shy away from, but if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd go with. Moving on to the $50 to $75 range, and this is where things get even better. You're gonna see a lot of the best button locks ever made, and some of the first. And we'll start off with this one here. This, I believe, was the first one from Kaiser, and this is the Kaiser Original. This guy's coming in around $72. And it is fantastic. One of the best sub 3-inch button lock knives you can get. You got that awesome Kaiser action, phenomenal fidget factor, great ergos for what this is. This really does fit just fantastically well in my hand. Real nice, kind of simple design. It's a perfect little drop point blade, and it's just a great little knife for 72 bucks. That Kaiser quality fit and finish. Really hard to go wrong with this. You're coming in at 154 cm on the blade steel, so excellent little knife all around, the Kaiser Original. And of course, guys, you know there's going to be links to every single one of these knives below. Maybe not everyone will be available. Most of these are available. All the links are below. Check them out. Next up here, we have the Vosteed Raccoon. This is definitely no stranger to, I think, anybody. Vosteed has had a fantastic year, some massive hits. They're coming back stronger than ever compared to last year. Last year was a huge year for them. This year has gotten even bigger, and the Raccoon is a huge reason for it. 59 bucks for the Vosteed Raccoon. We're looking at, I believe this one has, 14C 28N, my favorite budget steel. Nice recessed clip, very low profile. And excellent ergos, and of course a nice slicey blade. Very good button lock action. It's the complete package. It really is. Excellent little knife. It's hard to see these guys in stock sometimes. I believe as of right now, there are a couple versions in stock. So of course, those links will be below. The Vox-Teed Raccoon is an absolute budget banger. And moving on to one of the first button locks to start the craze. Not necessarily one of the first ever, but last year, it was the one that really kind of started the wave of button locks. And in my opinion, it's still one of the best. The Civivi Cogent. Primarily, especially this version. This is a slightly newer version with the Gaborshio wood. I believe this is still using 14C28N steel. They do such a good, there it is. Boy, they do such a good job of hiding that. Woo, out of the camera here. Yes, 14C28N. Civivi, you do such a good job of hiding that blade steel. But yes, this is 14C28N. Very nice ergos. I also put an aftermarket Civivi clip on here. I'm a huge fan of these aftermarket clips, so I am putting them on a decent amount of my Civivis and Zencuts. Super buttery smooth action. One of the best pure flipper button locks out there, and these guys are coming in at the $70 to $74 range. This particular version may be over $75, but it was the only version I had, so I had to use it as the example. But of course, they are easily available for under $75. And I would highly recommend it, the Civivi Cogent. Next up and last up on this list, and this is not going to be the last time you see this knife, but in the $50 to $75 range, definitely consider the CJRB Pyrite Daily Driver Edition. So let me explain this real quick. You guys probably already know the perfect Pyrite project going on with CJRB and Artisan Cutlery. They've now moved that initiative from Kickstarter onto the Artisan Cutlery website, so I'll have all those links below to check it out. This is one of the most, I believe this is maybe the most budgety level, $63. Now, the only real difference is the inlay. You get a G10 inlay here. Now, to me, that does make a pretty significant difference, especially when it's only bringing the price up to $63, because what this inlay does is give you that extra bit of grip right there. So 3 of your fingers are going to be holding on to that nicely textured G10, providing a very nice and secure grip. That's kind of a big deal, especially when you're talking the original knife was basically just like this on the other side. Smooth. It looked great, but it was smooth, and, you know, I personally thought it had a pretty good amount of grip, but having that inlay there really does knock that grip level up a notch and is very nice, well received. And of course, they did a really good job with it. Really clean inlay, no issues, no flaws or scratches or nicks along it. Very, very nice quality. An exceptionally well done job there from CJRB, and the Pyrite in general, especially this Warney version. You guys know I love it. It's one of my favorite button locks ever. So it's definitely going to be on this list. And like I said, there's going to be a couple more versions of this guy popping up, but this is the daily driver version of the CJRB Pyrite, and it is definitely worth checking out. Woo! Okay, we are already through 2 budgets, and we're moving on to the $75 to $100 category. And we're going to start off with the knife that actually gave me the real initiative to make this video on top of the questions from you guys. This is the one that really triggered it. This is the Civivi Sentinel Strike. And I'm pretty much ready to say this is my favorite Civivi button lock to date. I do love the Conspirator. It's no secret. But this one is just a little bit better. The detent, the quality, the action. Specifically the detent. This has more of, like I said in the review of this, a little more of a defined detent feel than the Conspirator. Some people may say the Conspirator's detent is a little soft, still acceptable, but a little soft. This one is not. You have an excellent tactical vibe, a very nice EDC blade that's super slicey. All the deployment options, from thumb studs to blade cutouts to flippers. You got a nice, really minimal glass breaker back there, which is very fitting for this knife. The Sentinel Strike should have a glass breaker, in my opinion, and a very nice left or right carry on the clip that is very nice and easy to switch, very much like the Microtech style of clip switch. So really, really awesome package Civivi put together. And I really do feel like this knife here is kind of a small level up for Civivi. They were already at such a high level. I really think the Sentinel Strike kind of elevated them just a hair more up in the budget realm in terms of quality, innovation, and just what they have the potential to bring to the people. So awesome job by Civivi. The Sentinel Strike is phenomenal. And coming in at $85, it's a great value. Now, next up here is one of my all-time favorite button locks. This has always been one very close to me. This is the Kaiser Original, but this is the XL. I'm going to bring out the Kaiser Original real quick just to give everyone a quick little size comparison so you know exactly what the difference is. As you can see there, it's not a huge difference, but when you get it in hand, to me, it's a very substantial difference. And I do prefer the Kaiser Original XL over the Kaiser Original just because it's a little bit bigger. You got a little more blade to work with. And the aluminum handle really works well for the action on this guy. Phenomenal thumb stud action, a nice detent feel with the button lock. That's going to be one of the biggest measuring gauges I have for all these knives. They all have good enough detents, acceptable detents. You won't see any soft detents in this video. This is one of my all-time favorite budget locks, and coming in at $82 to $92 depending on the version. I think the micarta version is $82. This one here, I believe, is $92. I would not hesitate spending $92 on this for a second. It is phenomenal. The Kaiser Original XL. And next up, as I said, you may see this guy again. This is the CJRB Pyrite. This is the Enthusiast Edition. And again, you're only coming in at 80 bucks. But that extra little bit of money gets you a lot of color and pop. And this is very much, I mean, we're getting obviously into real specifics here about this type of knife. Some people won't like it, some people will. But again, I love this Pyrite model so much. I love what CJRB is doing with it and giving people the options. I want you guys to know all the options that are out there. So this one here is the enthusiast version of the CJRB Pyrite. Next up is one of the most underrated knives in this budget and one of the best button locks I've ever come across. I'm still surprised this doesn't get enough love. This is the Kaiser Assassin XL. If you want a big knife, I mean, not a huge knife, but definitely a bigger than normal knife, this is it. The Kaiser Assassin XL is coming in at $89. Phenomenal action, great flipping action. You can push button it, or you can light switch it, and it's coming out just as smooth and fast as ever. Phenomenal micarta on this guy, nice deep carry clip, and just some very good ergos. You can choke up if you want, or you can stay back. You're good to go. Nice slicey blade. Really like the profile of this drop point. Really good looking knife. The Assassin XL. Stop sleeping on it, guys. If you want a bigger button lock, that's a great option. And we're going to follow this up with another very underrated button lock. And it's actually another Kaiser. And this is the Hiccup. The Kaiser Hiccup, I really think it came out when there were so many button locks coming out. And I feel like some people overlooked this guy. And I did not. I was a huge fan of this from the beginning. Love the front flipper. I love the fact that you get removable thumb studs. So if you don't want thumb studs, you can take these off very easily and then you just have a cutout, or you can leave them on and use both the cutout and the thumb studs. This is using the Trek lock, so it's a slightly more secure lockup. So the whole plunge of the button is going into the blade instead of just part of it compared to other button locks. But it's just a very nice, this is a sub 3-inch blade, guys. And I think this would fit a lot of bills. This might be, let me check something here, because I know the original is under 3 inches. This is right at 3 inches. This may be a hair over 3 inches. So for legality purposes, I don't want to say for sure. This is right around 3 inches. It might be like a 3.1 inch blade, but it is a very good looking blade. Excellent action, super fidgety, great design. It's phenomenal. And coming in at $82, no questions asked. You're good to go here. If the Hiccup gets your attention, check it out, because it truly is one of the most underrated button lock knives out there, and still very much available. Next up here is a very new one, and this is a potential knife of the year for me. This really is. I could not be happier with this. This is the Kaiser Brat. Now, the big thing about the Kaiser Brat is it's an integral, meaning this is all one piece of G10. And let me tell you guys, Kaiser knocked this out of the park. And maybe 3 blocks down the street, because it feels great on the back. Everything is smooth. The detent on this thing is insanely good. I mean, insanely good. I literally could not be happier with this knife. Of course, you're looking at 154 cm, and for an integral of this quality, 89 bucks. This is the first of its kind. It truly is the first of its kind, and it's a good size blade coming in right around 3.5 inches, maybe even a little bigger than 3.5 inches. Just a phenomenal feel in hand. All the security, great button lock execution. The detent is perfect. The ease of the button is nice. You have a perfect amount of reliability in this. I don't ever worry about this. As you can see, very nice lockup in this, and very little button stick. I actually prefer a little bit of button stick. I truly do, because I like knowing that there's that extra little bit of grip there between the lock, between the plunge and the blade. I like knowing that's there. It makes me feel a little more safe when I'm using a button lock. I have no safety concerns with the button lock, but knowing that there's that little bit of stick, I like that. I truly do, and I welcome that on button lock knives. This is phenomenal. You guys, if you want an integral and you want to check one out and you want an amazing detent, the Kaiser Brat is the one, because it's really the only one. But it's awesome. And last up in the $75 to $100 budget realm, I had to throw the Conspirator in there. I personally don't think the detent is too soft, but it's not, like I said before, it's not quite as defined as the Sentinel Strike, but I do really love the blade shape of the Conspirator and this little fuller tab that makes it so easy to middle finger flick. I love the fact they blacked out the C, and the wood looks fantastic on this, and I got another aftermarket Civivi clip on here. This is still an amazing knife, and one that I would never even consider selling. Like, even though it's a budget knife, I would never consider selling it, because I love the look of it. I love the feel, the ergos, the action. It's another complete package, and you just can't go wrong with it. You really can't go wrong with it. There's a lot of options you're seeing in this video. I truly don't think you can go wrong with any one. It ultimately comes down to what you're looking for. Deployment methods, aesthetics, size, and of course price. And that's why we're covering all those. But the Conspirator is still a home run. Moving on to the next price category, and that one is a smaller category. We're looking at $100 to $150, and we will start off here with one that may be kind of hard to get, but it has to be on the video because it's probably, it may not be my favorite in this price category. This, I terribly botched that, is the Vosteed Thunderbird. Every time these things drop, they sell out, like, quick. I mean, the first drop sold out in a heartbeat. The second drop, I think, may have lasted a couple extra days, but it went so fast for good reason. You have S35 VN steel. You have a price coming in at a very reasonable $130. Nice clip, bronze backspacer, which I really like, or brass backspacer that I think goes incredibly well with the OD Green Topo G10. That shouldn't have been that hard for me to say, but it was. The front flipping action is very nice. It is, of course, reach around approved, and it, again, very fidgety, utilizing that check lock for that nice rock solid lockup. And again, just a killer design from Vosteed. Arguably the best Vosteed knife to ever be made. I would say that the Nightshade gives it a real run for its money. But in terms of button locks, I think this one is the one. And I just noticed how ridiculously nasty that blade was. I must have carried this during a very sweaty day. So we'll wipe that off. But yes, the Thunderbird is absolutely fantastic. But I don't think that one's available right now. But this one is, and this is still a home run, and it's so good you're seeing it twice. The Kaiser Original XL, but with frag titanium, deep carry milled titanium clip. Look at that boy, S35 VN. This is basically everything I said about the Kaiser Original XL earlier in the video, just a different version that is more expensive, considerably more expensive. The $75 to $100 version, like I said, was $82 to $92. This one here is coming in at $139. So not, I mean, I guess I would still call that a considerable amount, but it's not terrible. And as you saw, there was a little stronger button lock on that, but I also haven't really carried this one a whole lot lately. It could probably use a drop of oil there on the lock to help kind of smooth that out. But it's still got those same amazing vibes that I love. The original XL will always be one of my favorite button lock knives, and any version is a winner for me. Next up, we have another Kizer, but a very different Kizer. And this one here came out earlier this year, and this version particularly stole my heart. The Kizer Clairvoyant with brass bolsters, they're technically fake bolsters, but brass appearance bolsters and burlap micarta scales along with a burlap micarta backspacer. 154 cm steel on the blade, and we are looking at a total price for this guy very low in this category at $109. So yeah, if you like bigger, longer blades, ergos are exceptional on this. Really does fill the hand, but it doesn't crowd the hand because it is a rather narrow handle, but a good thickness, so it feels extremely well. Really nice versatile blade there. Great edge from Kizer, as always. A nice versatile tip for EDC. And just a really, really good vibe. I mean, you don't see a whole lot of knives anymore with brass and burlap. And I think that's such a perfect combo in terms of appearance. And it works exceptionally well with this design. Paul Munko really, really knocked this out of the park. If you guys haven't heard of Paul Munko, that's his logo. Look him up on Instagram, Munko Knives. Hell of a good dude. Great designer. Very artistic person in general. Very talented creator. So keep an eye on him. And of course, as always, keep an eye on Kizer because they're knocking out of the park just about every day. So yeah, the Clairvoyant is easily on this list and one I would highly recommend, especially for $109. One of the better values on this list for $109. Really, really love that design. And that's it for the $100 to $150 category. And then we move into the $150 to $200 category. There's really not much there, to be honest. Nothing that really speaks to me enough to really hold on to. But there is one. And technically, it is the Kizer Hiccup, but it's obviously not this Hiccup because this Hiccup is $82. There is a version that is still available. I'm almost positive it's available on Blade HQ. That'll probably be where the link's to. The fat carbon version of this, we're looking at S35 VN steel with dark matter copper fat carbon. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Even though I have this Hiccup, I've considered buying it. It's coming in at $168. So not definitely by no means a budget knife, but for as much as I love the Hiccup in general, a fat carbon version will never not have my attention. And it, like I said, it is still available at $168. I'll have it linked below so you can check it out. But it is exactly this knife, same size, just with some copper, dark matter, fat carbon, and S35 VM blade. It is a thing of beauty. Check her out. And that's that. And now the last budget category, $200+. I got 6 more knives for you guys, and we're going to call this video a wrap. First up here is the last time you're going to see this, I promise, but it's my favorite version. This is the aficionado version of the CJRB Pyrite. We're looking at S90V steel, contoured titanium, milled titanium clip, and a fat carbon inlay. Now, you also have a micarta inlay option. I believe they're all the same price. These are coming in at $215, which, again, contoured titanium, fat carbon, S90V, $215 is actually very reasonable. You put those materials on other knives, and you could easily be north of $250. So $215, not bad at all. I will say the consistency in the action between the budgets all the way up to this premium are almost identical, which is very impressive, and I think that's how it should be. So props to CJRB for keeping that consistency. But the action is just amazing. The blade's stunning, and the fat carbon inlay with contoured titanium, to me, is a game changer. Specifically, the contoured titanium, huge game changer, and the fat carbon just makes this thing, again, a thing of beauty. So let me know what you guys think about this series of the CJRB Pyrite. It is available now on their website, and of course it'll be linked below. But the aficionado version of this really is an absolute stunner. And now next up, this knife here is not available right now, but it will be available later in the year. There's more coming, I promise you that. And this is the Rob Vosteed 1, or also known as RSKAOS. They're actually going through some slight naming issues with this. So if you, the link below will take you to the Vosteed website. And I believe what they're calling it on the website as of right now is the RSKAOS. So what we have here is a rather unique button lock. This is very similar to like a Spyderco Smock, but there is no patent on that, so it's totally safe to use. No one's breaking any rules or doing anything wrong. And there's also a different shape button, so there's still some considerable differences. And I really like how the shape of the button kind of mirrors somewhat the blade cutout. I think that's really cool. This flipper is buttery smooth. This guy is running on bearings, and let me tell you, these are not skiff bearings, but they feel like skiff bearings, which is insanely impressive. The overall milling quality and ergos, fit and finish action, this thing is an absolute banger, and it's coming in at $249. But like I said, it's not available now, but mark my words, I know for a fact more are coming, but sometime later this year. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Follow Vosteed on Instagram, sign up for their email newsletters so you know right away, and you can pick yourself one up. I really do love the sheep's foot version. There's also a Warncliffe version, but this thing feels, this truly does feel like a $300+ knife. And for $250, $249 to be specific, not that bad at all. All the fidget factor, all the button lock goodness. Don't sleep on this guy. It's amazing. The Rob Vosteed 1 RSKAOS. It's a mouthful, but it's one hell of a knife. And now next up is the true GOAT. It just is. The ProTech Mordax. You can't go wrong with this. It is easily one of the best button locks ever made, designed by Ferrum Forge, manufactured by ProTech here in the USA. Magna cut on the steel, a nice deep carry clip, great size blade, excellent ergos. It's the complete package. The problem is finding it. Right now, it's a very hard knife to get. I don't know if you can get it anywhere brand new. You may have to look on the secondary, but I'm sure more is coming. ProTech is very particular in the way that they run their production, so they do everything in waves. So they'll do like a whole wave of Malibus, they'll do a whole wave of TR3s, they'll do a whole wave of something. At some point, that wave of Mordaxes is coming, so try and be patient. I know it's hard. That's another reason why I would never sell this one. They're just too hard to come by, and I absolutely love it. The ProTech Mordax. And now, not to stray too far away from the ProTech family, I would be an absolute fool if I did not include the ProTech Malibu in this list. Oh, and for pricing references, that Mordax was $240. I have a feeling the next batch may be a little more. It all depends on what ProTech does to it. This Malibu, I see them, they really range too. They can be anywhere from like $220 or $240 up to $600, depending on just exactly what the knife consists of, like a mirror polish or certain milling, but they're all north of $200, so safely put in this category. But the Mordax was one of the original ones, but the Malibu is still, oh man, that detent, still the best detent on any button lock knife in the history of button locks. ProTech just really stumbled on to an absolute iconic knife here. And I'm a huge fan of this. This one here has the textured aluminum. Obviously, it's blue. And I believe this is Magna cut. Okay, it's not, I don't think, oh, yeah, it says it right there, I think. Yeah, Magna cut steel. So a lot of options for this knife. It is an absolute home run banger of a knife. I have literally nothing bad to say about it. Buy them when you can. I think there are a couple of these floating around somewhere out there. I'll look through my links, and if I have one in stock, I will definitely post it for you guys. But yeah, when you see a Malibu or a Mordax especially, if they're available, don't hesitate because they go quick. They definitely go quick. Now we only have two knives left. This one here, we're going to go from the most underrated to one of the most one of the most well-known knives. The most underrated knife on this entire list is right here, and this is the Couture Griffin. Now, this is one of those knives to where the aesthetics just may not do it for you. You may not like it. You know, whatever, different folks, different strokes, I get it. But this is, from an action and quality standpoint, for $250, this is an absolute phenomenal knife. Great ergos, surprisingly great ergos. You have a choil and it doesn't feel bad. This does not, there's no hot spots. I know it looks very angular, but it feels really, really good. Manufactured by Reich Knife, which is very underrated in my opinion. The front flipper is so good. We're looking at, I believe this is 20 CV, M390. Let's see, does it say here somewhere? It's 20 CV or M390. You'll see in the link below. I believe these are still available. An absolutely fantastic design. More of a tactical type of like, I almost get like Transformers vibes of this. And I love Transformers, so it works for me. But just a great premium knife. Like I said before, $250. You really do get a very, very strong knife. This is not one you have to be dainty with. I mean, you can use this. If you follow Couture Knives on Instagram, they actually do kind of like some really hard use tests, and this thing stands up to everything they throw at it. It is very, very impressive. In terms of button lock knives and just like how confident I am of their strength, I'm confident in all of them, but this is one of the very few button locks I've actually seen put through some true heavy duty tests. And it lived up to those tests. So I would easily, very confidently, highly recommend this one. I think it's a very great design. I think it's a very different design. Like I said, it may not be for everyone, but it is for me. I'm a huge fan of it from an ergonomic standpoint as well as a value standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of exceptional fit and finish here. For $250, I think you get every penny's worth. Very, very fidgety, very smooth deployment, and just a very, very good looking knife, the Couture Griffin. Last but not least is the one that everyone knows about. And ironically, my idiot self, last time I made a button lock video, I left this off. So this is me redeeming myself. The Spyderco smock, and especially my smock. I feel like I have one of the best smocks out there. This is a knife joist special with 20 CV, blue, dark matter, fat carbon, and a lynch clip. I mean, I am in love with this thing. And yeah, it's not for sale. I'm probably never going to sell it because it's just, I wouldn't say it's one of a kind, but there's never been a run of this, so this is kind of like made my own. Normally the Spyderco smock comes in at $212 if you buy it stock. That is unfortunately considerably more than what it used to be, but that's just the world we live in right now. The world of inflation. For $212, it is what it is, but the knife itself is a phenomenal knife. Super, super slicey, hollow grind. Really good ergos. You can choke up way up on the blade. You can stay back. You can go farther back. It's a very, very nice knife ergonomically with a lot of options. You can middle finger flick it very easily. You can flip it very easily. You can do all sorts of good stuff. I mean, the smock is, without a doubt, a knife that had to be on this list. And that is that, guys. Let me know what you think of this. What was your favorite knife in the entire video? And what budget are you most likely to buy a button lock knife in? Please let me know that. I would love to know that. It would help me for some research I'm doing. If you're going to buy a button lock knife, what budget are you most likely to be a buyer in? I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a longer one, but I think it was worth my time. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.